Okay, so that is now 10 o'clock, so we will get started. We are a couple of people short, but I'm sure they can join as and when they get here. So thank you very much for joining this morning. I can see from the list of people who had registered that we've actually got people who are in very different parts of their journey with the cloud EPOS system. I think we've got one club who are already using it. We've got two clubs who are waiting on installation. We've got a couple of clubs that I've spoken to about the cloud system, and we've got a couple of clubs who I haven't spoken to about the cloud system. So really great to have you all on this morning. Hopefully this session will be useful for everyone. So I'll just click on there. Just want to go through before I actually get into the cloud-based system itself. A couple of things that we're working on at the moment, just very briefly. So most of you will be aware that a lot of our development time at the moment is going on the T-booking system. We have developed that a lot over the past 18 months to 2 years to a point where we now believe it's a truly viable alternative to BRS. It's got some really great features in there. So if you're not already using the booking system and it's something you want to explore, please let me know. We are working closely with ClearAccept to develop and prioritize golf club specific payment options. So there's loads of new features coming in there as well. So we've recently released Pay by Link, which I'm sure some of you are using. I think everyone on the call, with the exception of one, is currently with ClearAccept. So hopefully you're using that feature already, the Pay by Link, really useful. And Deco Finance, also being called How Do I Pay Later? Those of you who are on ClearAccept will have received an email earlier this week letting you know that that is now available. There are contracts being sent out next week, I believe. But Deco, or How Do I Pay Later, is available now. And what that is, for those of you who aren't aware, is it's an alternative to Fairway Credit. Whereby How Do I Pay Later will give you your subscriptions upfront from your members. Your members will agree a credit deal with Deco, which is actually part of Navuna. They'll pay you the money up front, and then your members will pay back over 6, 10, or 12 months. The big difference between How Do I Pay Later and Fairway Credit is that the club is not liable for any subscriptions that don't get paid. So Fairway Credit will come back to you and take that money back from you, whereas How Do I Pay Later will not. They will also pay you within 3 days of the agreement being signed, whereas I believe with Fairway Credit it's 6 weeks. So if that's something you want to look into, please give me a call. However, I'm not really dealing with any of that. It's all dealt with through ClearAccept, but I can certainly give you some more information on that. We've also got the cloud-based EPOS system, which is why we're all here today. So I am going to be showing you a lot of the new features, including the new bill splitting and tender splitting options. Club installs are already being arranged. We've had probably 120 odd, give or take, clubs that have now agreed to come across to the cloud-based system. I would say we're probably at about 60 or so clubs, maybe a few more, who are using the system already. In fact, it probably is a few more than that now. Who are using the system already, and then some waiting for their installs at a later date. A very important part to note on this is that to upgrade to the cloud-based till system, you have to be on Windows 10 tills. It's only compatible with Windows 10 or above. Okay, so if your tills are old, you may need to upgrade the hardware as well. The other side of things, which isn't actually listed on the screen here, is with regards to receipt printers and kitchen printers. Receipt printers have to have USB ports. Okay, if they don't have a USB port, you cannot use the cloud-based till system at the moment. So you would need to upgrade your receipt printers as well. And your kitchen printer, historically, so more than sort of 5 years ago now, kitchen printers used to be directly connected to your till. If your kitchen printer is directly connected to your till, we would need to upgrade that as well. You need to have a networked kitchen printer. Now, even if it is connected directly to your till, you may still have a network port on there. That's fine. That's great. We don't need to upgrade it. But if you don't have a network port, we need to upgrade the kitchen printer as well. Okay, and then the final bit that we have been working on has now been launched sort of a month ago is Clarity, and that is our new member profiling and demographic analysis. So that is using data from Intelligent Golf and Club Systems. It's a ClearCourse leisure product rather than a Club Systems product. And that allows you to benchmark your club against other clubs in your county and other clubs of your type and nationally as well. To see how you're performing in various key areas of your business. So there are webinars going on about Clarity as well. So if you wanted to join one of them, please have a look on the Club Systems website, click more in the top right hand corner, go to webinars, find my name, and then look at the Clarity dates that are on there. Okay, so that's just a quick thing, a quick part of what we're working on at the moment. One thing I haven't listed on here at the moment that we are now putting a lot of time into is How Did I Do? Sorry. We are rewriting How Did I Do completely, and that is with a view to launch it ready for the new golf season. Now, there's going to be huge changes within How Did I Do? It's going to be fantastic for golf clubs. It's going to be fantastic for members. And it allows you to get rid of 2 apps that you may be using at the moment, the Members Hub and How Did I Do, and put them into one new app. So really, really useful. Watch this space. We'll be doing a bit more on that at a later date when we have more to show you. Okay. So let's move on to the cloud-based EPOS system. That's why we're here today. So a few of the benefits of the cloud-based EPOS system is first one there, no server required. Now, as an account manager, I've been asked for a long time for a cloud-based till system. And I don't necessarily think that the reason for that is for clubs to be able to get rid of their server. I think clubs have wanted to be able to access their products and prices, change their products and prices, access their reports, and do everything that they want to do with the till system remotely. At the moment, with the old system, you are restricted to using that either at the golf club or via a remote desktop, which isn't ideal. With the cloud-based EPOS system, you don't have to have that server. The information is stored on the cloud, and you can get access to that from anywhere that has an internet-enabled device. Instant and easy updates. We'll look at that a little bit later. When you update a product, update a price, or anything else on the till, it will update instantly, and it is very, very straightforward. The old clunky back office apps have gone, and it is now a much more user-friendly online version of adding your products and prices and getting your reports. But we'll look at that later on. Security is another key benefit of the cloud-based system. We have extremely high levels of security on our servers. We're using Amazon Web Services servers. So there's great security on there. And it also means we're responsible for your data. When you have the data on a server at the golf club or any random computer at the golf club, you as a golf club are responsible for the security of that data. Okay. When you move across to the cloud, we become responsible for that. So that's a really important part to be aware of. The cloud-based back office I've already touched on. So everything is available from anywhere. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your tablet. You can do it from your sunbed in Spain if you want to. It is all cloud-based for everything that you need in your back office. Okay. Simplified and responsive user interface, really key point. And that is both from a front end and a back end. The front end of the till system is really, really great. The back end, fantastic. We know that the back office apps are not ideal. We know that they're dated. They're a little bit difficult to manage. Certainly moving products around and adding new products in can be difficult to manage. With the new system, everything is simplified and much more user-friendly. Okay. And finally, we have the integration into the ClearAccept card machines. Okay, so when you put a transaction through on your till, you will press credit or debit card and it will go through to the card machine automatically. So there's no more typing in the numbers manually, no more human error involved in that, where, you know, instead of £15.40, they type £14.50, or instead of pressing card, they press cash, because that just can't really happen anymore. Okay, so that's really important with the integration to the ClearAccept card machines. Okay, so let's move into what you actually want to see, which is the actual till itself. Okay, so I'm going to jump into my till here, and this is how you will see the front end of your till. Okay, you won't have the URL at the top. This is just because it's a desktop version for my laptop, but you will see it as it appears on the screen here. You can now use cashier swipe cards. We are getting rid of the fobs, I believe. So I don't think you can use the fobs anymore, but you can have cashier swipe cards, or you can click this login button in the top right hand corner, and that will list all of your operators. Each of your operators can be pin protected if you want to. So if I was to click on Matt, I could ask for a pin. Now, I haven't done that on my system at the moment. So I'm going to click on Matt, and it's going to take me into my till system. Now, what you'll be used to seeing on your till system at the moment is you will have little boxes across the top which give you all of your product groups, and then you'd probably have to have the bar on the first page. You'd click more in the top right hand corner to go to food, and if you've got Pro Shop on there, you might have to click more again to get into the Pro Shop, and then click more again to get back to your bar. What we have on the cloud-based system is everything listed on the left here. So if I click on bar, it takes me into the bar here, and then I have my product groups in here. The other thing you'll notice is that the buttons are completely controlled by you in terms of color. So I've got some weird and wonderful colors on here, as you can see, because I change these quite often during demos like this. So you control the color of buttons. We've been asked for a long time, can we change the color of the buttons? And we've never really seen it as a really big benefit or something that's really important. But when we've brought the cloud-based till system in, we have got colored buttons in there as well. Okay, so as you'll see with each of my buttons here, I've got this little folder icon in the top left, and that is because they are a group of products. So if I click on my draft beer, it takes me in to all of the different draft beers that I've got. Okay, now what you'll see on some of these, the ones that I've set up properly, is I've got this little window in the top left hand corner. Okay, these are the ones I've set up during demos, just really quickly, just to show you how it works. But if I click on Carlsberg here, it gives me the options of what kind of Carlsberg I want. Do I want a pint? Do I want a half? Do I want a shandy pint? Do I want a shandy half? Okay, so I can click on my pint there, and it puts it in. As you'll see there, that is our visitor price. Okay, so that's our full undiscounted price. On the current till system, when your member comes to the till and says, what's the member price for a pint of Carlsberg? You can't really tell them. You sort of have to say, oh, it's £4.60 less your discount. Okay, so obviously if you've worked that out, you can tell them, but otherwise you're saying it's £4.60 less your discount. What you can do with the cloud-based system is you can add the member in at any point during this transaction. So if I put myself in there, I now can see that has gone down to £4.14. As you can also see there, this has flashed up saying I have outstanding tabs. So when I've come to place a new order, our cashiers can now say, oh, Matt, you know, you've got an outstanding tab to pay from whenever. We can go into the tabs and we can find that tab that I have unpaid, which is this one here. Okay, I can then open that tab and I can pay that off by clicking pay down at the bottom here, take it off my account and submit. Okay, so that's now gone from there. Okay, really useful, really simple feature. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a few drinks in here. Okay, and I'm sure what you've all been in the situation of before is how do I say average? No, I'll say how poor. I'll say poor. The bill splitting option is on the current till system. It's something that has been talked about for a long time within club systems, that the bill splitting just doesn't quite work as we'd like it to, and as you'd like it to, more importantly. However, with the cloud-based system, you have two options, and two really good options on how to split this bill. Okay, so I'm going to click in this menu down at the bottom left here, And this is going to give me the option to share or split. If I click share, all that does is split the drinks evenly. So I can add shares, as many as I like. I can remove shares. I can say that one person is paying for 2 shares, and that will then sort it automatically for us as to how much we need to pay. Okay, we can then click on that and we can submit that payment by cash, card, account, whatever we want to do. We can then click on that one and we can do £8.46. That's being paid by card. Unfortunately, I can't click on the pay by card because mine thinks that I'm linked to a card machine, which I'm not. If I was connected to a ClearAccept card machine, this would then send £8.46 through to the card machine and I could pay that by credit or debit card. Okay, so I'm just going to select cash on there and pay that off again. This person is a member. So I can now click account, I can search for the member. I can either use myself because I'm recently used, or I can search for another member and submit that payment. And then the final payment there, submit that again via cash. Okay, so that's that paid off, away we go. The other option is that we have something that looks a bit like this. And we have the person who comes to the till and says, I need to pay for my Guinnesses, please. So we click on Guinness, we put them essentially into a new sale, we click pay, and then we can put that cash, credit card, or if I go back, I can put the member back in there. Okay, so I can pay that off and submit that payment. Okay, I can then say I need to pay for the San Miguel, and I can pay that by cash. Okay. And then I'm going to pay for everything else. I'm going to use a £20 note. It's £15.95. Submit that payment, and I need to give £4.05 change. Okay, so really simple, really straightforward way of splitting bills. It works very, very well. Also in this menu here, we can, if I just come out of there, let's say that we want to do a complimentary tab here for whatever reason. We can just do that. It takes the price off. And if you're using the stock control element of the system, it will take those items out of stock for us. Okay. We also have the option to discount the tab for whatever reason. So we can add in a 10% discount if we want to, apply that, and then pay that off by cash or card. In here, we also have to take a deposit off. So if this is a visiting group who have paid a deposit and they've got a big long bill, obviously mine isn't here, but I'm just going to take a £5 deposit off. That now knows that I've just got £5.90 to pay, and we can do that as well. And then finally down here, we can void the whole tab. Now, this is another thing that is really, really useful on the new system. So we've put this order in. And with the current till system, if we've made a mistake and it was actually only one Guinness, or let's say that someone said, oh, I'll have a Guinness and then change their mind to an RLGC lager, we can just click on that Guinness and remove it. On the old system, you would have had to go void Guinness, and that would still print on the receipt, which if you've got a big, long receipt and you're voiding things and taking things off, it looks a bit messy. That now doesn't happen on the cloud-based system. You can just take off that item that is no longer required. Okay, then we can just void the whole tab if we want to, just to get rid of it, if we've made a complete mess of it, or they're not having their drinks anymore, or whatever we needed to do. Okay, the other thing I can do, which is what I've done before, which is why I had and still have an open tab up here. Let me just open that and pay that off. We can set up a tab assigned to members, as we've always been able to. So we put me in there, we put my drinks in, we can then click send. It's going to label it as my name because my name's in there, and I can then save that. Okay, that has now set up a tab with those 4 items, which I can reopen. I can add to it if I want to. If I want to add a Woodham gin, a Rudland gin, and a Bell's, I can then send that back, and that is now still in our tabs and it is updated. Okay, what we can also do with tabs is if you have an area of your club, maybe in the bar, where you've got people drinking and then they're going into a dining room, for example, we can then assign their bar bill to a table. Okay, so we're going to select table 3 because that's the only one I've got available at the moment, and assign those drinks to that table. Okay, I can then go into my tables up at the top here, and I can find table 3 there, open that up, and I can revert that to a tab. So if they've now got food on there, I can revert it to a tab and send it back to the bar area after they've eaten. Okay, revert that, save that, and that is now back as a tab for us. Okay, so that's really sort of simple stuff. If I start to look at food and I go into my sort of breakfast sandwiches here, what we can do with this is the same as you've got now, but in a much nicer way. We can do our pop-up windows. So when I click my sausage sandwich, it's going to bring up and say, what type of bread do you want? I want white bread. Do I want to add anything to that? Yes, I'm going to add bacon to my sausage sandwich, and I'm going to complete that. Okay, we can then pay that off by member card, cash, or credit card. Okay. The other thing we can do, maybe more in Pro Shops, is we can go onto Pro Shop here, and I'm just going to think of which one I've actually got it set up for. Let's go golf bags. Yeah, so that is coming up as a default price of $119.99. What we can do, if we want to set this up, we can do this for the bar, but it is more used in Pro Shops, is we can actually say, actually, we're selling that for $109.99. Okay, add that item in, and that then puts that item in at that price. Okay, we can then sell that $109.99, submit that payment. Okay, so you can do all of those things that you can do on the current till system, apart from they just look a little bit nicer, they work a little bit better. Okay, and that's probably most of the things I need to show you sort of within here, within the main sort of till screen. Up in the top left, we have this menu. In the menu, there's lots of different things that we can do. So we've got our sales reports. So this is where we get our X reads, our Z reads, and we can actually get our PDQ reads as well if we have our Clear Accept card machines integrated to the till. Okay. The big difference between the X and Z reads compared to the current till system is that when we click on that X, it brings it up on the screen instantly. We don't have to wait 3, 4, 5 minutes sometimes for it to print off at the receipt printer. It comes up on the screen instantly, and then we can choose to print that to a receipt if we want to. Okay, you can pick up your X and Z reads from the back office, so you don't necessarily have to print this unless you want to. Obviously, lots of clubs still will, and that's absolutely fine. You can just print that from here, and it will print straight away. Okay. We have our franchise reports. So if you have franchise caterer, they can click on there and they can run a report based on their product only. Okay, so I'm just going to look at the main till. I'm going to generate report, and that will tell me that of these products that I've got, this is what I've taken. Okay, so we're just looking at those franchised products. Okay, so that's really useful as well if you've got franchise caterer. Recent transactions, really helpful part of the system. If I click on there, I can see all of the sales that have gone through the till, and I can go as far back as I like. Okay, so I can keep going back, find a particular transaction. So if I've come into the bar here and said I need a copy of this receipt here, I can click on there, I can see exactly what I've bought, and I can reprint that receipt if I want to. Okay, but that is for all sales. Okay, if it was a particular member and they had used their card, we can search for that member, we can click on that member there, and we can see their specific recent transactions. And again, we can go as far back as we like. So I can click on that transaction there, and I can reprint that receipt if I needed to. Okay, so that's really useful as well. I can also print a statement, which will give a list of recent transactions, as well as their balance there as well. I can also top them up from here. So I click on there and I select that I want to top up by £100 cash. That has now topped me up straight away. Really straightforward, really simple. Up in here, I have account corrections. So I've topped up that £100 there, but what I've realized is it was actually only meant to be £10. I've just put an extra zero in by mistake. So I can click on account corrections. I can search for members. and then I can find that top up there for £100, click on it, and it'll now say enter the amount this top up or credit should have been. So I just put in £10, submit that correction, and that does everything it needs to my account and to the till to make sure that we're all balancing. Okay, so really simple, really straightforward. Also in this menu up at the top left here, we have timekeeping. Now, timekeeping is an additional module. Timekeeping costs £150 per year. And what that does is it allows our cashiers to come in at the start of their shift and start their shift. I've obviously started one there, which I haven't ended. I can then end my shift, log out, and then that will now allow me to look in here and I can print my recent history. Okay, so I can come in here and print this off. Great for paying staff by the hour, etc., etc. Okay, they can take their breaks on there and everything else like that. So really, really good, really useful. Training mode, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Training mode allows you to do everything that you can currently do on the till, but it just doesn't affect your sales. So if I click on there, you get this nice yellow and grey sort of hash marks across the top there. That just shows that we are in training mode. So you can't really make a mistake on there. Okay. Refunds, that just puts the till into sort of negative mode, if you like. So we go in there, you can see that this is a nice peach color on the right-hand side. And if we needed to refund that sausage sandwich, we can do that. And that is now all in negative. Complete that and refund that back to my card. Okay, very simple, very straightforward. Cashback, there's two different ways you can do cashback if you want to. You can turn cashback off completely. A lot of clubs don't like being used as an ATM, and that's absolutely fine. Some clubs don't use cashback now because the old till system wasn't very good at it, but this new till system is. So what happens, the first way of doing cashback, and probably in my opinion, the best way of doing cashback, is let's say that we put a couple of drinks through there, £17.40, I go pay, and I go card. The system is now telling me that I cannot give cash back because I've set a minimum of £20 spend to be able to get cash back. Okay, so I now add another RLGC lager on there. I click pay, I go to card, and it now gives me the option to add cash back. So I want to give £20 cash back, add that on. It's got my order total. It's got my cash back, which is the total, £43.35. I would click process card payment, and that would send that through to the Clear Accept card machine. Okay, it would know to take the cash out of the till, and it would then be able to account properly. Okay, so that is the first way of being able to do cash back, and that is where you're forcing your members to actually, or visitors, to actually make a sale before you give them cash back. The other option is going into this menu here and clicking on cashback. And this is essentially using the till as an ATM. So I can click on there and I can just put £20 cashback, process that, and that will send £20 through to my card machine and tell me to give £20 cash out of the till. Now, obviously, I'm not a massive fan of giving cash back because you will pay the transaction charge on the card machine for that. So not something that I strongly recommend, of course, but if that's what you want to do and a service you want to offer to your members, fantastic. The till system will allow you to do that. Okay, we have no sale, does exactly the same as it does on the current till system, opens that cash drawer without a sale being made. Account corrections we've looked at, and then the last thing we need to look at on the front end of the till here is price events down at the bottom. So price events are really, really useful. I don't think I've got any set up at the moment, but I'll show you this when we get into the back office. What we can do with price events is we can set up a temporary pricing structure. So whether that's a price increase or a price decrease, we can set it up a temporary one or a permanent one. So what that allows us to do is, let's say that you've got the Euros or the World Cup or whatever, and you wanted to put special offer prices on your pints, you can do that. And you would use a price event to do that. If you have got a wedding coming in, for example, and you wanted to put your prices up, then you can do that again using price events. The great thing with this button here is it allows you to enable it per till. So if you've got a function room upstairs, perhaps where your wedding is, but you've still got members drinking downstairs, you can have one price on the tills upstairs, one price on the tills downstairs, and the other is not affected by the other. Okay, so that can be really useful and really simple. You couldn't do that on the old system. You could set up temporary pricing, but it would affect all tills. Okay, so this allows you to choose which till you want this price event to happen to. You can also set your pricing up way in advance. So let's say we're changing our prices on the 1st of January. We could set our prices up now, leave them as a price event on the till, and they won't affect anything until the 1st of January. Okay, so really simple, really straightforward on there again. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is about the internet connectivity of the till. The till requires very, very little internet connection at all. So if you've got slow internet connection at the club, that wouldn't worry us. We have this status bar, this yellow bar at the top here, which tells us that we've got 0 unsynchronized transactions at the moment. So that's good. If we lose connection to the internet, all that happens is that that bar will go red and the unsynchronized transactions will start to count up, because that means that the till cannot communicate with your Club V1. Okay, the till will still work. The till will still be able to use members' balances, but they will not synchronize with Club V1. Okay, once a connection is restored, you can then just simply process those transactions. This will turn back to yellow and away you go. Okay, so that's really a great feature of the system. The only time that becomes an issue really is, let's say that you've got a member sat at home, they've topped up their bar card on their app, and then they've come straight to the golf club and your tills aren't connected to the internet. They won't be able to use that balance. Okay, but that is going to be few and far between realistically. Okay, so that's the only time that that happens. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything I need to show you on the till. The other thing actually that I haven't shown you is these two buttons here. So if I go to my draft beer and I put RLGC lager, I can put a quantity of 3. And then do RLGC lager. So that's 3 RLGC lagers onto the system if we wanted to do it that way. The other thing we can do if we're putting something through to the kitchen is we can add a note here, and we could maybe say no butter. Okay, save that. That then prints off in the kitchen as well. Okay, so that's everything I think I need to show you. No, it's not. I've just missed one important part of the system, and that is quick sale. Okay, so I'm going to just void this tab off. Okay, so we have 2 cashiers, or 1 cashier, sorry, for the moment. 1 cashier on the till. And a 4-ball has come in off the golf course. There's 3 of them in the bar, and they say, oh yeah, I'll have 2 San Miguels and a Corona. I don't know what Dave wants. He'll be in a second. But now there's someone else waiting to be served. So we've put that San Miguel and Corona onto the till, but we now want to serve this other person. All we need to do, click quick sale at the top there, and it opens up a whole new transaction for us. They want an RLGC lager. We click pay, we submit that payment, and then we can return to that pending tab where Dave's now come in from the locker room and he says, oh, I'll have a Guinness, please. Okay, we can then complete that transaction. Okay, the other option, which is exactly the same as it works on the current till system, is we have 2 cashiers on maybe, and we've gone for that. So I've now gone away to pour my Guinness before completing the transaction, but Adam wants to serve someone else. So he can click on my name there or swipe his card, click on Adam, and he can then go in and put his order through and pay that off. Okay. We can then click back out of Adam, back in as me, and my transaction is still sat there waiting. That's exactly the same as happens on the current till, so that's no huge difference there. We can then pay that off by cash. Okay, so that is now everything I need to show you on the till. So now we're going to jump into the back end of the system, which you'll be pleased to hear is now accessed properly through Club V1. So I'm going to sign in here. And what you will be aware of with your current till system is that finance is where EPOS is. EPOS sits between payments and merchant payments there. When you move to the cloud-based system, it doesn't sit there anymore. It sits on your home page over here. So we click on EPOS and it opens up our dashboard. Okay, so this is a quick overview of what's been going on in recent days. So we've got our last 7 days transactions there. We can see our bar graph, just a very quick view. Today's transactions, where those sales have come from. And then we can see today's breakdown of how that money has been taken. If I had been able to use my card machine, we would also have card in here as well. Okay. Also down here, we have our best selling products, and this is over the last 7 days. It's just giving you a quick view of your top 5 products. Okay. We have our higher spending members over the past 7 days, and then we have our tills there. So these are the different tills that we've got available. We then have our today's top operators, which, to be honest, I don't know whether that's useful or not. You might tell me differently, but you can see that I've done £291 of sales. Adam's done £15.90. Okay, so that's just a quick overview. However, if we want to look at a products report, we can click on there and it takes us into our products report. Okay, now with all of the reports, I'm not going to go through every single one of them today, but with all of our reports, we get the options of last quarter, this quarter, last month, this month, last 7 days, yesterday, today, the last Z-read, or custom. On the current till system, you only have that custom field. Okay, so you would select your date range of what you wanted to report on, but we're going to select this quarter. Okay, we're going to update that, and this is going to tell me which products have been our most popular in this quarter. And we can filter this using these headings across the bottom here. So I can say member quantity. I want to know which is our most popular product by the amount that we're actually selling to members. And I can see that Guinness is our #1 to members. Okay, I then click on member sales and I can split that now by actual value of sales. Okay, I can select non-member quantity, and again it's my Guinness that's most popular. Our non-member sales value, and we can see again it's still Guinness. And then overall, it's not going to surprise you to see that Guinness is there in terms of total sales as well. But that allows you to see quickly with an overview as to where your products rank for members in terms of actual quantity sold, the value of those sales, and then non-members quantity and value. All of these reports can be downloaded to a CSV or PDF. And again, those of you who use the back end of the current till system will know that the CSV download isn't very good at all. However, this one, when I click on download CSV, I put my name in there to confirm it's me, confirm download, and now I can open up and I can see that this is our product list set out as we would expect to see it. Again, we could sort that if we wanted to do it that way, sort smallest to largest, and again, we can see there in our order for quantity. Okay, or we could do largest to smallest as well. Okay, so CSVs are actually useful information within the new cloud-based till system. Okay, so I'm not going to save that. We do have, if I just go back to dashboard, we have our reports here, and that takes you into this screen here. So you get your summary report here, which shows you your sales for whatever date range you're looking at. So we're just looking at today here. And that's the sales we've made today and how we've made them. Our products by tag. So tags are an important part within the system, and I'll come back to that a little bit later. Member spend in the clubhouse. So at the start of today, our member balance was £109.39. We've done £51.22 of member sales. We've done £5.81 of member refunds. We've done £10 till top up because we did that £100, which was corrected to 10. And all of that added together is an end balance of £73.98. Now we have 2 purses at our golf club, so we can see that the member spend in the pro shop started at 110. We've done none of that, so the end is 110 there. Down at the bottom, we can see top-ups, so we can see what top-ups have been done at the till, what top-ups have been done online, any batch top-ups from the back office, which gives us a total top-up today of whatever that is. iGolf is if you use the competition purse, for example, and you get people to enter competitions using a purse, you would see all of that information in here. You can then see your refunds and see your voids in here as well. Okay, so the other reports we have in here, the tags report, as I say, this is an important report. So tags, you can tag your products however you like to. So one of the key differences really between the old system and the new system is the availability of a revenue stream report. So what I've done and what a lot of our clubs are doing is tagging our food items as food and our bar items as bar. And the reason for that is then allows us to report on what we've done before as a revenue stream. Okay, you can tag with multiple tags. So you could have a Heineken, for example, tagged as bar and Heineken, which would then allow you to maybe have a look at your different suppliers and see which of those products are more popular. Okay, so tags can be really useful. If and when you move across to the cloud-based till system, the implementation team will talk to you about tags as well. Sales, that is our sales report. Okay, so that's the last 7 days. We can click on the day and it will take us into a bit more detail. Obviously, there was no sales on Friday, which into our transactions report. Products we've looked at. Operator sales, so if you wanted to see which of your cashiers have done more sales over the past 7 days on a particular product, we can do that. Okay. No sale, how many no sales have we done? Our divisional report, so that is looking at what we call product groups. So that is looking at which of your product groups have sold the most, and any product that we've sold from any division will show in here. If we haven't sold anything from a division, it won't show in this report. Okay. Payment methods, again, we saw that on the dashboard, very, very similar. We can see what we're taking by cash, member card, credit, debit card. Cashback, if we've done any cashback. Refunds, if we've done any refunds. Voids, tabs, and then, as I mentioned, that X or Z read there. So we can go back to any of our X and Z reads that we've done, and we can pull that report off. Okay, so that is really useful information as well. Finally, on my system, I've got the timekeeping report here. So I can see that I've started a shift and ended a shift, but I've missed it out because I haven't done it properly over the course of a day. Okay, so that's in there as well. Back to our dashboard, we have our members. So we can see in here who our highest spending members are. We can see top-up history. We can see spend. We can see discounts, etc., etc. Okay. Go back to our dashboard. Stock control, I'm not going to talk about today because stock control would take another half an hour at least. But stock control is available on the cloud-based system. It's better than it was on the old system. However, there is an annual charge for the stock control module. Again, it's another module. The stock control module is a £250 setup and £250 per year on there. Okay. And then we have driving range. We can integrate with EGM range machines. So if you've got an EGM range machine, your members can use their cards to go to that range machine and get their golf balls. Okay, we can then go into settings. And this is where we can now add our products and prices and have a look at different information. Now, what I want to show you today is how simple and easy it is to add a product, put it onto your till, and move it around the screen as well, because that's a key difference to the old system. Okay, so I'm going to click add a new product here. I'm going to select which division or which product group it fits into. So I'm going to add in a, let's go for a sandwich today. And we're going to go for a webinar cheese toasty. Okay. We decide our selling price, whether it's got VAT in it as well. Our selling price is going to be £4.95 for our cheese toasty. Is it variable? So that's what we looked at with the golf bag earlier. And that is that it's going to pop up at £4.95, but we can change the price if we want to. It's not normally done for sandwiches, but if you wanted to do that, you can. If you have a bar levy, do we allow this webinar cheese toasty to come off our bar levy and count towards our spend for the year? Yes, we do. Not really used for a cheese toasty, but if it had a barcode, we can put that in there. So that's, again, more used for pro shops. We choose the color of the button. I'm going to select yellow, with it being a cheese toasty. And then we can select the kitchen printers. So a big difference between this till system and the old till system is you can have multiple printers in multiple locations. So we've been asked for a long time. We've got our chef over there wants a kitchen printer, but the coffee machine is over there, and we just want that to print off of there. We haven't really been able to do it. You can set that up, and you could have a kitchen and a coffee station printer. We do have, I think it's Doha Golf Club, who have got something like 17 printers around the club. Not really many clubs around the UK would have that, but if you did, you could send whatever you needed to wherever it needed to go. Is this product active? Yes, it is. In fact, we are going to send that to the kitchen printer with it being a cheese toasty. Is it able to be returned? No, it's not. And then we could create a stock item, but again, I'm not going into that today. We then save that product. And when it catches up with me, there we go. It then brings us into our product sort of overview, if you like. Okay, so I have two different discount groups set up on my system. I have a standard discount and I have a high spend discount. We might do it so that 10% as a standard discount, 15% for those high spenders. However, at my club, I just have for food 10% across the board. It's only the drinks that incur that high spend discount. Okay, so we save that. Okay, so that is now that product set up. So what I want to do is I actually want to put that onto the till now. So I go to layout. I go into my sandwich screen here, click edit, and then I add a product and I type in webinar cheese toasty. Pop that in there, drag and drop, and that puts it last. Okay, if I want to move that to there, I can do that. And if I now go back onto my till, go to my food and my sandwiches, there's my webinar cheese toasty already on the system with its $4.95 price. It is instant updates. There is no more need to wait 5-10 minutes for it to actually feed through itself, or go to the till, turn it off, turn it back on again to force it through. Okay, so if I go back to my layout and decide I want to move my webinar cheese toasty to the front there, I can then go back to my till, back to food, back to sandwiches, and there it is at the front straight away. Okay, nice and simple, nice and straightforward. Let's void that off. Okay, so that is as simple as it is to add a product and a price. Okay, now what you will have also seen here is that I've got ProShop on here. Let's say that I wanted to have, we're getting to that time of year now, where I wanted to add a Christmas menu in. What I've done already in my till system, when I go to layout, I go into my till here, and I have my Christmas menu set up. All I need to do is slide that on, go back to my till, and Christmas is there. And that's got my turkey, stuffing, and cranberry sandwich. Okay, so you can have temporary product groups, if you like, that you just switch on and switch off, and they will update instantly. Okay, so another really useful feature of this. Okay, so that's how we add a product and a price. One thing you've heard me mention is departments and divisions. So the way that we actually refer to different things has changed. The terminology's changed. So we have a department now, which is here. And that is what we used to call revenue streams. Okay, so they're your departments. Your divisions are what we used to call product groups. Again, it'll take a bit getting used to, but once you're there, it's very simple and very straightforward. Also in here, we can go to operators and we can select what each cashier can do. Okay, so Adam here cannot void entire tabs. He also maybe can't do cashback during sale or with no sale. Okay, so Adam cannot do cashback now. We can see our tables. So I've got 3 tables set up at the moment. We can see them in here and we can edit them if we want to. Discounts, that's what we've looked at already with that food. And in here, we can set what that threshold may be. So it may be that everyone gets 10% discount as standard, but once you spend £1,000 or £500 during the year, you actually go to a high spend discount. Okay. Layout we've looked at. Franchises, so that just feeds into the franchise report. So we'd go in there and set which products apply to the franchise. Tax rates, we would set up our 20% tax in there. Hopefully the government won't change the VAT rate, but if they do, we can just add that in and change that if we need to. Payment methods. Now, payment methods is slightly different to what you're used to on the old system. So on the old system, you can set up whatever payment method you like. With the new system, you're limited to these ones here. Okay, so that's just something to be aware of. And in here, you literally just turn them off, turn them on again. Okay. We then have printers, which we've already talked about. We have departments, we've talked about. We have price changes. And it's in here that we would now go to set up our price changes if we wanted a planned price change for long term, or we can now see our past price changes there, or we've got our temporary price changes up at the top here for such as a wedding or competition, for example. And we can also change VAT rates across the board. Okay, so if we wanted to change all of our VAT rates, we can do that in here as well. Okay, so that is a quick sort of whistle-stop tour of everything within the till system that I think I need to show you. I am now going to just jump back into my slideshow. There's my contact details for those of you who maybe don't have them.